not the guy I was fucking drunk! He said confess!
With more than 10 movies in the Saw franchise and multiple disciples of Jigsaw, the Saw traps have ranged from clever to cruel, calling upon its victims to embrace their supreme survival skills. But not all of them are that deadly. Here's our list of the 10 most survivable traps in the Saw horror franchise.
Get me out of here, please! Please help me! Get me out of here!
Number 10. The Reverse Bear Trap, Saw. Starting out strong on our list, we have a Saw classic trap, the Reverse Bear Trap. If you aren't familiar with this trap, the victim, or should we say player, has their jaw attached to either end of a bear trap, so when the timer runs out, their jaw is permanently yanked open. The player has 60 seconds to find the key in the stomach of their dead cellmate using what looks like a surgeon's scalpel. Now, if you have a conscience, you may have watched Amanda scene with horror when you realized that her cellmate wasn't actually dead. But if you're a perfectionist, you would be yelling at your screen while you watched her play whack-a-mole with the guy's intestines. While Amanda did escape with her shoddy techniques, she could have cut the job in half, no pun intended, by cutting a clean X in the guy's belly, opening him up like grandma's carpet bag, and having the key in less than 30 seconds. This is one of the few traps in the entire horror franchise that doesn't involve self-harm. But the moral dilemma of taking someone else's life and the limited time to complete the task is what puts this at the number 10 spot on our list. Number 9. The Razor Box, Saw 2. This might arguably be the most frustrating scene to watch in the Saw lineup. Does it count as a trap if you walk into it so easily? The trap works like a Chinese finger trap by closing long razor blades around Addison's wrists the more she tries to pull out of the box. We can try to give her the benefit of the doubt because she was poisoned by some unknown chemical. But come on, don't put both hands in the box inside of a house of death traps. If you ever find yourself in this trap, remember to keep one hand free to push the razors from the sides, or try to use your fingers to push the razors away like you're trying to put on a bracelet with one hand. Or God forbid you keep pulling and twisting your hands until you end the game with 2 less hands and a lifetime supply of disability checks. Number 8. The Chain Hangers, Jigsaw. The chain hangers is a trap that involves 4 players all chained around the neck and being pulled towards the far side of the room. Once they grab the tape player, the chains stop and 3 syringes fall from the ceiling. If you've read Harry Potter, you know this same riddle. One of the players was injected with poison and needs an antidote. One of the syringes is acid, one is saline solution, and one is the antidote, a literal pick your poison. The player who admits to being a thief needs to choose which syringe to inject based on the numbers printed around the needle before the chains pull all the players to the ceiling and hang them. While this trap is a bit of a 2-for-1 with all 4 players being dragged to an unknown fate and then strung up by their necks, it's also one of the least lethal statistically and practically. Not only would the manacles on the players' necks fail to strangle them and the slow pace of the chains wouldn't break their necks, only one player needs to be injected with either the antidote, saline solution, or acid. The team could have easily squirted a bit out of each syringe to see which one starts to corrode the floor or a small bit of skin. As saline is harmless, you just need to inject the remaining 2 and you're hydrated and saved. 1 quarter scaries and minus 10 points for the most anticlimactic murder scene.
What the fuck?
No, it's not creepy at all.
Number 7. The Jar Trap, Saw 5. For this trap, we've got another statistical bummer. The jar trap is pretty simple. There are a handful of glass jars in the ceiling and 3 of them contain keys to open the tunnels that will protect the players from homemade nail bombs. Did anyone say eat the rich? That's what the journalist in the jar trap seems to be suggesting as he bashes another player on the head instead of realizing that the 2 women with him are easily size 4s at the most and could both easily fit into one tunnel without even getting handsy. The other 2 guys can have the last 2 tunnels and everyone is saved to sell another multi-million-dollar home or whatever. Instead, Mr. Survival of the Fittest gets a fast pace to an early grave and won't even get to have an open casket funeral. Sometimes it really does pay to just play nice. Number 6. The Glass Coffin, Saw 5. The glass coffin, or as it should have been called, what should have happened in the trash compactor scene in Star Wars. Special Agent Peter Strahm has the choice to either put himself in a glass coffin with broken glass inside, or get squished by the walls that are inching closer together by the second. The rules of the Saw games are pretty simple. Don't go into scary boxes when you're inside of a Saw game, but also don't push people into scary boxes and not expect revenge. Instead, Hoffman is whisked away in the box with his masterful escape. If the Saw movies have taught us anything, it's that vigilante justice looks a lot like a sadist's wet dream. If you play nice, you get to live. If you're a piece of trash, you'll be compacted as such. Sorry, Petey. Number 5. The Necktie Trap, Saw 5. 5 players are tied up once again by their necks, and the wire connected to each of them share the same finite amount of slack. They all need to get to the other side of the room to get to the keys to their collars before the timer runs out and pulls them back onto razors that will chop off their heads. As any kid on the playground knows, the key part of the game is in the rules, and the key to winning any game is teamwork. So if you can make this dream work and just take turns, everyone gets to live, but no! For some reason, not only is everyone not able to call mine and run across the room, but it also takes 30 seconds to put a key in a lock and twist? You can find me behind the elementary school with a megaphone practicing my best team captain voice, and you can find the fire inspector's head divorced from her body. Number 4. The Furnace, Saw 2. This trap brings us a nice game of which one of you silver spoons has never seen a furnace before. If you don't know the trap, a man crawls into a literal pizza oven to get 2 syringes, only to get trapped and burned alive. Why would anyone crawl into a furnace as the first option? Are we not even going to discuss a plan B? If anyone had paid attention to the riddle, when you're in hell, only the devil can save you, they would have seen the little devil pointing towards salvation, or the gas shutoff valve, which could have been turned during his crispy demise to shut it off, or beforehand, negating the trap completely. Not to mention, the first syringe was free of charge, while the other was wrapped around a chain that may as well have had a sign on it saying, "Pull here to start the flames." Either by shutting the gas off completely or unwrapping the second syringe from the chain, this crispy demise could have been easily avoided. If nothing else, did anyone think to hold the door open just in case, to avoid their Obi from getting Kentucky fried? In all reality, if you fall for this trap, maybe you were meant to go in the same way that lemmings run off cliffs to their death. 'Tis nature, 'tis right. Moving on.
Open the door! Open the fucking door!
Number 3. Ice Block Trap, Saw 4. If the last trap was too hot for you, let's cool it down a notch. While this trap isn't necessarily escapable for Eric and Hoffman, it was absolutely preventable. Unlike most time limits in Jigsaw's traps, the key to Eric Matthews and Rig's survival was to simply let it run out. Detective Rig, like plenty of soon-to-be divorced men, didn't take the time to listen to the rules and warnings, and ended up with 2 dead buddies and an overall disappointing shooting record. However, seeing Matthews' head pop like a balloon between 2 comically oversized blocks of ice is one of those movie moments you're almost glad the good guy loses, just so you're able to see it come to fruition.
Fucking kill me. No. Shut up! I don't want to play anymore.
Number 2. The Pig Vat, Saw 3. Just before our top spot, we have the most disgusting of the Saw traps, the Pig Vat. Essentially, Jeff needs to choose between burning his dead son's possessions or letting the judge who oversaw his case drown in a rotten pig smoothie. First of all, can anyone explain why the judge's first reaction when the rancid pig slushy came rushing in was not to cover his eyes and mouth? Even if he does get his neck unchained from the bottom of the vat, he's definitely gonna die from a serious trichinosis infection. Also, is it even worth it to live when you'll forever have pig maggot juice in the back of your nose? Maybe it's best just to call it a loss at that point. Jeff has all the power, and it only takes the flip of a switch to save the judge from a very slow and yucky death, with the only real challenge being a sentimental one. Too easy and too much pig juice. Number 1. Shotgun Keys, Jigsaw. Last but definitely most simple on our list, the shotgun keys. 2 players are given 1 shotgun with 1 shell. Both have been responsible for the deaths of others, and Kramer says that they need to do things the other way around in order to get their keys to freedom. Wordplay can't be underestimated in the slightest when it comes to Jigsaw. How is that not a literal spelling out of Kramer telling them that the key to freedom is to stop killing? Anyways, the keys are in the shotgun shell, and it really only takes the most simple deduction skills to realize that more killing isn't the answer. Anna ends up trying to kill the other player, and the gun shoots backwards instead, leaving her regretting her hasty decision. Also, there was no timer? You had all the time in the world to reconsider, and Anna didn't even have the excuse of missing a leg or blood loss to hinder her decision-making. Does anyone deserve a bloody death? Probably no. But Anna definitely sowed her own seeds here. A trap that involved no self-harm, no killing of anyone else, and no timer to solve by earns it our top spot. And that's our list of the most survivable traps. Let us know in the comments which trap you think is the most survivable. And if you think you could live through all these with all the associated trauma.
Congratulations, you are still alive.